welcome back. All municipalities, as we are in the midst of budget season or winding down budget season, have been struggling with what to pay for and what not to pay for. And there's been some concern about provincial downloading versus the provincial funding available for things like social services, recreational opportunities, cultural sites. Seguin Township has had its own struggles and debates when it comes to funding these services. A couple in particular, the Belvedere Home for the Aged in Perry Sound. I believe in the past 2 years, funding for municipalities has gone up more than 200%. Seguin pays more than $12,000 per bed in the home. You've openly criticized operations at Belvedere. What do you see as the problem here?
Well, the $12,000 per bed is a total municipal contribution. It's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not just Seguin's.
Okay.
And two years ago, the total municipal contribution was about $400,000. It's now up to $1,250,000. So there's another roughly $750,000 or $800,000 going to Belvedere than there was before. And what Seguin's point of view is, we confirm that, as with all other municipalities, we're committed to really quality care for the residents at Belvedere. But we're wondering is how other facilities, long-term care facilities, can provide what seems to be high-quality care without requiring any municipal subsidies at all. And these are funds that I always say, and I'm saying this personally, not to my council, but I always say these could be invested in regional assets. We talk about having a swimming pool. $850,000 could pay for that. We talk about deficits to the Stocky Center. There's $850,000 of municipal funds going to Belvedere that never were a few years ago. And we think, so we think really that we should be benchmarking Belvedere against other institutions. Lakeland operates with what I understand is very high quality care. They have no municipal subsidies whatsoever, and they seem to be running at a surplus from what I've heard. Our neighboring municipality, Muskoka, District of Muskoka, has a long-term care facility called the Pines. Right. They are now producing surpluses as well. There are no municipal contributions there, and as far as I know, that they also provide high-quality care. So
for you, it's just a question of where's the money being spent and where should it be spent at Belvedere?
Yeah, it's an issue of why is Belvedere requiring such a high level of municipal subsidies when similar facilities seem to be able to provide a very high level of care without requiring any municipal subsidies. We, of course, there's also a representation issue. I'm a strong believer in what's called pay for say. We provide 37% of the funding, but we only have one member on the board. We're not sure that representation is fair. So that's another issue that we have to deal with. That representation, though, is a matter of legislation at Queen's Park. It's not a local issue. And so that's an issue that we'll have to deal with at Queen's Park and not locally.
Belvedere has argued to a certain extent that their financial issue is a provincial issue because they're asking for funding to return to 2003 levels. Do they have a case there?
I don't think so. They operate under the same rules as everybody else. They're funded with 4 provincial funding envelopes. And those funding envelopes are designed to take care of the standard of care that the province expects in long-term care facilities. If there's any incremental issues, then the municipality should top up the funding. And that's really what we were doing 4 years ago, and it's not what we're doing now. There are some issues at Belvedere that are unique. There's the old building,
yes,
and the cost of carrying that. That's unique, and Belvedere's working hard on resolving that. But I certainly agree that that's something municipalities should be help funding. There's some incremental food costs, I think, and we should fund that. I think also it's an older building. It's a 3-story building. It's more inefficient for utilities, etc. Yeah, we should be funding that. But in my view, the funding properly for municipalities should be in a $250,000 range, not in the $1.25 million range. So that's my view.
Another social service organization, the Perry Sound District Social Service Administration Board, their levy went up 7%. I believe $2 million for Seguin Township.
2.1, closer to 2.2 actually.
It's a pretty large chunk of the DSEB's $34 million budget. What's the cause here?
Well, DSAB, who run a pretty darn good operation, are feeling the pressure, as are other social organizations, for increased services, and felt that they needed a 7% increase to deliver the services that they're supposed to deliver.
So these are just two examples, but there have been debates in area townships about how much to spend on ambulance services, whether to spend more vehicles and more equipment, whether to spend more on your volunteer fire department. Is this truly a case of not enough provincial money, or is this too many people trying to do too many things for taxpayers, or a bit of both?
Yeah, perhaps a bit of both. I don't think that the services we provide in our community in the West Parry Sound region are unique to municipalities in our province. I think that sometimes we argue too much over them. I have a personal point of view that it's time to consider the idea of regional government. But I think our problems are pretty common relative to the rest of the province.
Let's come back and talk about regional government in just a moment.